Hi, my name's Dr. Bird. I wrote a dissertation about sociosexual ecologies in the algorithmic environment. And this is some research I read about the reductive biological sex binary and the way that it relates to being anyone in the Olympics. It's an article by Kavanaugh and Sykes in 2008, and it's called Transsexual Bodies at the Olympics, the International Olympic Committee's Policy on Transsexual Athletes at the 2004 Athens Summer Games. It starts with a quote by Barnes from 2004. Sport exists on the premise that males and females are radically different. Then a Foucault quote, thus sex gradually became an object of great suspicion, the general and disquieting meaning that pervades our conduct and our existence, in spite of ourselves. The point of weakness where evil portents reach through to us, the fragment of darkness that we each carry with us, a general signification, a universal secret, an omnipresent cause, a fear that never ends. The latent anxiety is driven by a compulsive attempt to validate the age-old Western categorical gender binary. We argue that the policy functions to manage a categorical gender binary in the face of social, medical, and legal uncertainty, gender identifications, anatomical, genital, and chromosomal variations that aren't intelligible to those committed to a biocentric two-sex model. So-called gender purity in women's sport, and to mask a fetishistic engagement with athletic bodies as media spectacles that are hypermuscular, sculpted, highly toned, enervated, streamlined, and appear to be death-defying. The Stockholm Consensus is also symptomatic of a refusal to recognize self-identification with respect to gender. Priority is given to sex-testing regimes and narrow, medically governed definitions of sexed bodies. The IOC policy reveals what Judith Butler in 1990 refers to as gender trouble. Bodies entered into Olympic competition have always seemed larger than life. Such idealized bodies seem to defy gravity, have immortal powers of concentration, and display superhuman strength, endurance, balance, coordination, speed, and agility. The Olympic motto of Citius Altius Fortius, faster, higher, stronger, is quintessentially about a metamorphosis into ever-increasing levels of bodily performance. Olympic bodies as visual spectacles transcend everyday conceptions of gender and exhibit physiques that cannot be easily seen as natural. Much like the transsexual body, which is sometimes, though not always, surgically or hormonally induced, Olympic bodies are acquired through rigorous training and, in many instances, injections of steroids and other performance-enhancing substances. While both transsexual and Olympic bodies have unique histories and vastly different experiences in the social and political realms, psychoanalysis helps us to see that the presence of transsexual bodies in sport reminds the IOC and the Olympic community in general that the fascination with athletic bodies is in part about a psychic investment in Olympians who already transcend the boundaries of binary gender categories, ideas about mortal human strength, aging, and finally, death. As anyone that's ever paid attention to the entire world knows, race intersects with this in extremely historical and often problematic ways. That's what's happening with Biles. There's a long and complicated history of specifically the ways in which United States constructs of whiteness and blackness complicate ideas of gender. It is the least surprising thing that Simone Biles is now being investigated because of these discriminations. When the Olympics began, the only people that were allowed to take part are people that had a ding-dong. That's why the sex exclusion exists. As I'm always saying, breakdowns are breakthroughs, and what this moment reveals, as many others, is the horribly discriminatory Western context.